This presentation addresses a very simple question.
What is that idiot doing?
I posed this question while watching several scenes in which one character uses music instead of a verbal language as an alternative means of communication.
It's in tune.
The best example is probably the piano, in which music represented a distinctive way of expression for the speechless protagonist. My point is that the communication between two characters in this particular kind of scene resembles the filmmakers' use of music to communicate with the audience. Practically, whenever a character plays when he's supposed to speak, it's like the filmmakers emphasizing the power of film
music.
music.
You know anything about a man going around playing a harmonica? Instead of talking, he plays. And when he better play, he talks.
In this particular kind of scene, the diegetic music is meant to substitute the dialogue as a principal dramatic element of the soundtrack, but usually it has only sound-specific functions.
Play so you can't bullshit. Only watch those false notes.
Like so?
Posing my central question.
I just asked the same question.
Well, what's the answer?
I don't know. I didn't tell him to do it.
No,
Teddy,
look, you're
get
the
it.
director. It was your idea to bring him over here for me.
I avoided two obvious films as musicals and biopics of real or fictional musicians. I set my example in three groups according to the function of the music, because in this kind of scene, music is used only to create the atmosphere, to test sympathetic vibrations, and to break somebody's heart. A fourth group should be added. But I thought that characterization was too.
May I say something rather daring? If Miss Honeychurch ever takes to live as she plays, it will be very exciting, both for us and for her.
Like anything else one character says and does, diegetic music provides always some connotation.
I'm black and I'm proud. But is that the key to art? Is it just a popularity contest? Or is it the transmission of one soul's innermost essence to another? Art is meant to be an unconstrained expression of the inexpressible. It's our way of telling each other things we feel, but are unable to put into words. It is ultimately the only real way of sharing who we really are with the rest of the world.
Sorry, I lost you after but.
Let's start from the last group of examples, the one in which a character uses music to seduce someone. In the film Besiege, Chandra is a housemaid that becomes the object of her employer's attention, Mr. Kinski.
Morning, Chandra.
Good morning, Mr. Kinski.
His insistence is extremely romantic in nature. And the romantic is also the style of the piano music he plays while trying to break her heart. Her reaction is not the expected one.
I think this is yours.
It belonged to my aunt.
Notice that Chandra's reaction burns out exactly when Mr. Kinski hits a dissonant diminished seventh chord after a chromatic progression.
I do not understand you. I don't understand this music. Eh?
I rather hoped you might keep it.
It's not possible I keep this. You know? It's why? Why do I keep this?
I love you.
I'm sorry. I think I should go.
Mr. Kinski represents the filmmaker and Chandra the spectator. And Mr. Kinski expresses his feelings through music, not only playing, but also composing. In this later scene, once again Chandra appears as the target of his improvised music, which notably is not a love song. Looking at her, he seems to realize what would be necessary to move her. Steady rhythm, slow and predictable harmonic progression, cantabile texture and repetitions, all characteristic features of pop music. Shadows the happy ending.
Well, how about some music?
Fine.
The seduction scene of the scene certainly reminds you the much more famous one from The 7-Year Itch.
Stravinsky. Hey, how about this one? Rachmaninoff, the Second Piano Concerto. You look to me like a big Rachmaninoff girl.
I do. That's funny, because I don't know anything about music.
You don't have to know anything about music. Just listen to it, that's all.
Rachmaninoff.
The Second Piano Concerto.
It isn't fair.
Not fair. Why?
Every time I hear it, I go to pieces.
Oh?
Chopsticks! I can play that too. Shove over.
If the scene from Miller's film can be taken as a statement of film music aesthetics, then Hollywood filmmakers would have generally preferred a simple, tuneful short piece of music to a symphonic masterpiece, at least in the soundtrack of their comedies. And the reason is clear. The average film spectator is a blonde.
I don't know about Rachmaninoff with it shakes you and quakes you and stuff, but this really gets me.
It does?
And how?
The seduction scene is topical in dramas, and the one that features music is commonly known as the serenade. It's stock material in musical theater, and in film cannot be used anymore without some irony.
Let me come to your balcony tonight to annoy your parents and neighbors by singing you a really overdramatic song about feelings and love.
What?
This short film is a serenade.
Hola, Luis.
This example deserves a particular attention because the filmmaker is also the author of the music and the lyrics. Also, the filmmaker is the singing protagonist of this grotesque serenade.
Anoche no dormí hasta entrada la madrugada y tengo por delante 10 horas de oficina. Entonces, ¿qué demonios provoca esta sonrisa a las 7:35 de la mañana? ¿Será el café? ¿Será la tostada? ¿Será la mantequilla o será la mermelada? Periódico quizás sea el crucigrama, el susurro de la radio, el chinchín de las cucharas. Serán esos clientes buscando el calor de alguna taza caliente, de alguna conversación. Mientras la luna y las estrellas, las farolas pobres de ellas, dan paso a regañadientes a la luz del sol. O quizás sea esa chica que entra sin demora, pide un café doble y una ensaimada, se lo toma en silencio en esa mesa apartada, siempre con prisa y sola, siempre a la misma hora. A las 7:35 de la mañana, a las 7:35 de la mañana.
La chica es mona, eso está claro. Pero ella y tú nunca habéis cruzado una palabra.
No sabes dónde vive ni cómo se llama.
¿Dónde tienes el motivo para estar tan fascinado?
Quizás sean sus ojeras de recién levantada, esa forma tan curiosa de sujetar la taza, o ese gesto pensativo al mirar por la ventana. Tantas cosas, yo que sé, es por todo y no es por nada.
Socorro, bar la Concha, calle San Bernardo.
The serenade trivialized the common assumption that music moves affect in the listener, an idea that has been central to music aesthetics ever since Plato. But film music still relies heavily on this aesthetic cliché.
¿Por qué no te acercas y le hablas?
No sabes quién es, no pierdes nada.
Tienes miedo de ofenderla o de enfadarla.
O parecer. O parecer un... O parecer un loco. Venga, lee. O parecer un loco.
Parecer un loco y asustarla.
No es eso lo que pasa, es que no pido más. 10 minutos de ella al día me valen. No hay que olvidar que las mejores cosas de la vida hay que dejar que empiecen y dejar que acaben.
Like in meta theater, where the play represented the staging of a drama, this filmmaker portrays himself while forcing people to act as he wants, for his own sake.
7:35 de la mañana a las 7:35.
And we see that he has no inhibition or limit. He would do everything it takes to leave an unforgettable scar on her heart. At the end of the love song, the protagonist demonstrates he realized that using music, one can get the spectator's attention only for a limited span of time.
Ahora entiendo todo, pero tienes que pensar
Que después de haber montado todo este tinglado,
Después de todo esto ya no hay vuelta atrás.
Dile algo a la chica, no nos dejes intrigados. Decirle, hola, ¿qué hay? ¿Qué tal estás? ¿Cómo te llamas? Oh, estaré muy bien. Pero como las mejores cosas de la vida, esta canción empieza y esta canción termina.
And what about getting into his bands? Well, in this Danish film, the roles are just inverted. He is a fan of the Beatles, while she knows how to appreciate counterpoint.
Kan du lide det?
Ikke rigtigt. Det lyder som man trækker en kat i halen. Også bedre lige sådan noget med rytmer i.
But she plays a little trick. She explains, to him and to the audience, why such a piece works well in their love scene.
Ja. Det er ligesom de to instrumenter, som leger med hinanden. Ja. Er det ikke smukt?
Hvem er det med?
Bach.
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 Bach. Bach.
It does not matter if the music is diegetic or not. The two solo instruments are a metaphor of the two young lovers, and we all get that.
Jeg elsker dig. Jeg elsker dig.
Don't know why, but after this scene I always feel like brushing my teeth. Anyway, I found remarkable the way the authors have found to focus the spectator's attention on the soundtrack.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's okay.
In a way, I felt bad for Big Dave. I knew the 10 grand.
Another subtle passage from non-diegetic to diegetic is found in the scene from The Man Who Wasn't There. It's like he had some music in his head, and finally he finds the one who was playing it. Even though Birdie did not mean to interact deliberately with Ed, through this music she's communicating her affinity with the protagonist. It is an epiphanic encounter with a germane soul. Beethoven music represents a metaphysical world toward which Ed and Birdie are attracted. The dance light music you've heard at the beginning in the background represents instead the common existence, from which Ed is irreparably excluded.
That was pretty. Did you make that up?
Oh, no. No, that was written by Ludwig van Beethoven.
Well, it was quite something.
Yeah, he wrote some beautiful piano sonatas.
That was really something.
From an aesthetic point of view, this means that film music reaches its goal whenever it makes us sympathize with the drama of the protagonist.
So you don't like that music out there?
I mean, not really. I'm not big on music ordinarily.
Ed.
The conflict between a group of tourists from a big town and the local folks of a desolate valley is central in Deliverance.
Talk about genetic deficiencies. Isn't that pitiful?
Come on, I'm with you.
The only moment in which there is some opening up between the two groups is when Drew improvises a performance of bluegrass music with a youngster. This is another case of elective affinities found through the sharing of musical taste. In this case, though, two musicians are involved and they interact using their instruments. This sort of interaction is not conceivable between filmmakers and their audience, but perhaps the way Drew makes the boy with the banjo familiar with the tune by repeating it over and over may resemble the insistent use of recurring leitmotifs in soundtracks.
Vous connaissez cet air? C'était son préféré?
Other instruments may be used for synergetic duets. Like the banjo and the guitar, they bring together their differences and affinities. But for music to be a remarkable sign of harmony between two characters, not always instruments are needed, like in this short film.
अरे टॉप माल है
Two Indians who don't know each other meet for the first time in New York underground. They finally find each other singing popular tunes, through which they can identify themselves and their friendship.
दोस्ती हम नहीं तोड़ेंगे तोड़ेंगे दम मगर तेरा साथ ना तोड़ेंगे ओहो ये दोस्ती हम नहीं तोड़ेंगे छोड़ेंगे दम मगर तेरा साथ ना छोड़ेंगे तेरी जीत मेरी हार सब है मेरे यार तेरा गम मेरा गम मेरी जान तेरी जान नाला लर लला जीना मरना साथ है मरना जीना साथ है ना लला अब आपकी बारी है
No, man, I can't.
गाना हो जाए एक गाना हो जाए ना
मेरा जूता है जापानी मेरा दिल है हिंदुस्तानी मेरा
सर पे लाल टोपी रूसी फिर भी दिल है हिंदुस्तानी मेरा जूता है जापानी
But this harmony can only be extemporaneous, because, as in Deliverance, the two subjects are doomed to part forever.
And tell you to meet him tomorrow morning at the New York Stock Exchange.
Very funny. Yeah, too bad he doesn't have the capability of Pacifica.
Another instance of extemporaneous harmony found through music is in Spielberg's film Munich. a group of Palestinian terrorists has to share an apartment in Athens with a group of Israeli assassins who say they are ETA Basque terrorists.
Okay. Okay.
Forced to find several compromises, a couple fight over the radio for the song to listen to. Until they found Let's Stay Together. And of course they are gonna shoot at each other in the following chapter.
I wanna feel like you said I'm gonna fit to your groove. I don't wanna be different, said I'm gonna be just like you. Cause I'm so powered to say they play on the radio. I'm gonna dance like
Music may represent even the opposite or the lack of affinities.
Why are you making those faces? I can't hear you. I can't hear anything. I'm gonna lose hearing in my ear. Listen, you're witnessing genius.
My ears are experiencing a meltdown. I can't feel anything.
Can't you feel the energy? It's tangible energy. The room's alive with positive vibrations.
I'm frightened. After they sing, they're going to take hostages. No, please. No.
You want some?
No,
come on, you.
No, you've been doing...
I love songs about extraterrestrial life, don't you?
Not when they're sung by extraterrestrials.
Oh, well, I cannot communicate with you. I never realized you were such a tight ass.
I don't understand you. Your sisters, both sisters, have such good taste in music. I don't know where you went
Do you mind? I'm my own person.
Can I take you someplace to hear something nice?
Yeah.
I'm in love again, and the spring is coming. I'm in love again. Hear my heartstrings strumming. I'm in love again, and the hymn they're humming is those cuddle up.
God only knows how these two eventually get to have a child.
I'm in love again, and I can't rise above it. I'm in love again, and I love it.
Thanks for a swell time.
Well, if you didn't like it, you didn't like it, but you didn't have to talk while the guy was singing.
I was so bored.
Yeah, that's tough. You don't deserve Cole Porter. You should stay with those groups that look like they're gonna stab their mother.
At least I'm open to new concepts.
And you don't have to snort cocaine at the table all the time. What do you do, carry a kilo around in your purse?
I wouldn't know the difference. They're in bombs.
Jesus. Glad Hannah got us together. You know, she's got a great instinct for people.
Oh, look,
really.
I'm sorry it didn't work out.
Yeah,
You know, it's
me
probably
too.
my fault. I've been a little
Right.
depressed lately.
Yeah. I had a great time tonight, really. It was like the Nuremberg trials.
Oh, I'll see myself home.
But that's exactly the point. In Woody Allen's comic story, everything is down under. The music scene represents the anticlimax, or the demonstration that the two characters have nothing in common, but they eventually end up together, following the rule that opponents attract. And the connection among the music scene and the finale is underlined by the soundtrack.
And here it is years later, and I'm married to you, and completely in love with you. The heart is a very, very resilient little muscle. It really is. To make a great story, I think. Guy marries one sister, and doesn't work out. Then years later, he winds up married to the other sister. It's, you know, I don't know how you're gonna top that.
Mickey,
What?
I'm pregnant.
but music provides connotation not only for people, but also for places.
לא, מה משוטים? היא מה משוטים מסלמה, תדעו רק אם תתוגו לעצובה מה תחלבה ולידה.
Tahir takes his mother home from the madhouse. She has been shocked by the death of her younger son, Amin. But she remains catatonic, refusing food and care. Until one day, Tahir sings this song.
Dunia gangai, madumgo, oina jinto.
Which is not a traditional folk song, but an original composition by a spiritual master.
Oina jinto.
Dunia gangai, madumgo, oina jinto.
Music makes the place home like nothing else. The film ends with a picture of the house, which is very similar to the opening frame. The house stands as a symbol of the family finally united again. A very similar instance is found in Rising Victor Vargas. In which music represents again the harmonious condition of a family, or more precisely, the harmony Victor's grandmother would like to have.
How nice. I love it. How's beautiful. Do you like it? You do? How about you? Mm-hmm. He always tried to make the family happy. Always. Promise me you're gonna be here to play the piano for Grandma. Always.
I promise.
Thank you. I love you.
This harmony is threatened by Victor's misbehavior.
Why are you here? This is my family, but I need help with this one.
He done this so bad.
Is it bad influences in the house? I don't know what I'm gonna do anymore. It don't have to be a criminal only to throw out of the house.
You realize you can't just put him out?
Why?
But at the end of the film, Bach's music appears again to represent a newly established balance. And this time, it includes Victor's love story with Judy.
Morning.
This clumsy performance on a square piano of an arrangement of a concerto becomes to symbolize the far from ideal condition in which Victor is still able to find love and happiness. Unfortunately, classical music does not always work.
Don't worry, my darling. I shall do it ever so softly.
Oh, Jacques, are you sure?
My darling, of course, it's always worked before. There's no reason why it should not work now. Oh, you just relax and leave everything to me.
Jacques,
Yes, madame?
I really don't think it's such a good idea.
You mean there's not helping?
I'm afraid not. I think I'll just take a sleeping pill.
I like to think at music as something we do to the space around us. Like scent, music changes the connotation of a place, and then the place changes us too. In other words, music changes our attitude toward the space around us.
Brain? Brain? Andy, let me out. Andy? Andy?
I have no idea to this day what those two Italian ladies were singing about. Truth is, I don't want to know. Some things are best left unsaid. I like to think they were singing about something so beautiful it can't be expressed in words, and makes your heart ache because of it. I tell you, those voices soared, higher and farther than anybody in a great place dares to dream. It was like some beautiful bird flapped into our drab little cage and made those walls dissolve away. And for the briefest of moments, every last man at Shawshank felt free. It pissed the warden off something awful.
Open the door. Open it up! Dufresne, open this door! Turn that off!
Sometimes in film, this change is emphasized, and in a case like this, volume might become a weapon.
Brain! You're mine now.
But music can also give bad connotations to a place, like in this scene from a war movie. The young Lord Tsurumaru hosts mercifully in his shed Lord Ideatora, the man who made him blind and exterminated his entire family. The great Lord Ideatora has completely fallen from grace, and his tragedy, for which only he is responsible, is making him mad. Through this music, which resembles no theater, Ideatora perceives something tremendously shocking. One might say that, on one hand, Tsurumaru is expressing his struggle for getting rid of his hatred for the person who destroyed his life. On the other hand, Ideatora seems to perceive in this music the proportion of his tragedy. Remarkably, the scene ends with the Ideatoras falling off the shed. The music Tsurumaru played has made the atmosphere of that place unbearable.
Are you all right, Taylor?
No, not really.
What's up?
I don't know. I feel so divorced from the world. I've lost touch with the world. Do you know that song by Mahler? I've lost track of the world.
No.
It's one of the most beautiful and saddest songs ever written. I can almost hear it now. Can you hear it?
But where this music comes from, it's not clear. Perhaps this is not diegetic music, but what matters is that the protagonist is using this song to answer the question, how do you feel?
Oh, it's gone now. What, did you hear it?
I think so.
It resonated right through the whole building.
Nikola Tesla perceived the Earth as a conductor of acoustical resonance.
What if filmmakers conceived the movie theater as a room of acoustical resonance for film soundtracks, in which the audience forms a miscellaneous body that is expected to vibrate sympathetically at some frequencies?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Come on, this is exactly why there are musicologists, who will tell you what you need to know to fully appreciate music.
In his grave, then death can creep into her. Oh, mother, mother, make my bed.
In the song Catcher, the protagonist is a musicologist, but what she says at the end of her opening class sounds more like the statement of a filmmaker than of a philosophy doctor.
And desire to be buried by him, and repented she before she died, that ere she did deny him.
Now, there you have a fine example of an old English ballad, a folk song, defined as that which is created by the common people, the unskilled. The melodies are quaint and primitive, but you must learn to appreciate not only the sociological value, but the simple purity of emotion in the song.
Probably the reaction filmmakers are looking for is like the one epitomized by Antonio in this scene.
Marte, Marte.
Antonio seems to be the only one to catch the meaning of Italian contemporary music. In Italy, instead of wood, we touch our most precious organ. If the way characters speak through music really resembles the way filmmakers use film music to communicate with their audience, I mean, if this metaphor holds true, then this kind of scene can tell us not only something about the filmmaker, but also about us, or at least the way filmmakers see us. And here we are, clueless, ignorant, stupid, unskilled, inexperienced, undergraduate, ugly, sick, criminal, inept, dumb, wretched, primitive, powerless. And the best quality we have is that we resonate.
Earth is a conductor of acoustical resonance.
Don't say